What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am Tyreek, and this is Somerville Serpents. And in today's video, we're going to be going over how to palpate your adult female ball pythons. The act of palpating your females, or palpation, is searching for those follicles inside of them, trying to determine how far along your female may be or how big those follicles may be. The way we measure follicles here in the ball python community is by millimeters, or at least that's what we measure here in the US. I'm pretty sure Canada, stuff like that too. Technically, you can do it in centimeters, but you'll mostly hear people refer to those when measuring by millimeters. Anyways, so it is my belief that the best way, the most accurate way to determine how big those follicles are would be to get an ultrasound. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, believe that it is way more efficient using an ultrasound so you can see exactly where your female is at in her development of those follicles. But if you're just starting out like we are, or if you can't afford one yet, or whatever the scenario may be, you can use this technique that I'm about to show you to determine whether your female is growing those follicles, how big they are, as far as an estimate, and how likely it is that she'll end up producing viable eggs for you. So, with that being said, we're going to jump right into the video. All right, so first up, we're actually going to check on our girl Shiva here. She is going to be the next one to lay. If you guys are new to the channel, we produced our first clutch ever here on Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. It was a G-stripe clutch, a pinstripe G-stripe female to a coral glow G-stripe male. She ended up first-time mother. She's about 7 years old. She ended up producing 5 slugs for us, but it looks like there's going to be 3 viable eggs. I originally thought that it was only going to be 1 because I only saw real good veins on one of them. The other 2 did have the embryos in them with slight vein work just right around the embryo, not throughout the rest of the egg. They've been in there for about 2 weeks now, or close to 2 weeks now, and no rotting or molding or anything else on the other 2 eggs. They all still look really good. So I'm hoping that they're developing the veins while in the incubator and that they're going to be viable. But yeah, with that being said, let's just take a look here at Shiva. Now this girl here, if you take a look at her, her colors are real dull. She's back on the heat. She is about to go into a shed cycle. She has already ovulated, so this girl is going to go for sure. Whether it's good eggs or slugs is to be determined. We'll see, obviously, when she lays them. But she is going to go 100%. So I'm going to use her as the first example just because she has already ovulated. Those eggs are 100%, pretty much fully grown to their size. It's a lot easier as the girl's follicles become more developed for you to feel them. So just a first case scenario I'm going to give you guys and show you what steps to take, how to palpate them correctly. And then we'll move on to a couple girls that either are off food or bull wrapping, cooling, stuff like that, and see if we can determine how far along those girls are too. See if we can feel how many eggs or estimate how many eggs are inside and so forth. So anyways, first up, we're going to go right with Shiva. Now, I'm just going to be gentle with this girl because like I said, she has already ovulated. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take them. You don't want to leave the tub wide open. You're just going to, and now you're just going to leave it open just a crack so that they have the dark space to crawl back into. You want them to feel comfortable. You're going to want them to run from you a little bit. In some cases, I've heard it's easier using a little face cloth or a little towel like this to help guide your hand. You can decide to do it with or without that. Now she's trying to run from me. I'm sorry, Mama. Yeah. I don't want a thing too long because, like I said, she's already ovulated. She is trying to escape from me. So Oh, she's trying to back up though. So what you're going to want to do here is you're going to take them. Wait, regret this decision later. You're going to take them. You're just going to dip their heads into their enclosure, and then thumb on top of the spine, finger under the belly, and just a light pressure. That is it. And at the bottom third of the body, you're going to feel it. There was one, there's two, and you'll feel your fingers pop. There's three, and there's four, and that's it. And now you can see she's moving real slow, climbing back in. She's trying to be gentle on that belly area. Like I said, she has already ovulated. And if you look at the tail right here, you can see the tail is very skinny and short, and it widens up real quickly. That is a huge indication that your female is gravid. A really thin tail compared to the rest of the body. As soon as you go past the tail, the body thickens up really quickly. That's because those eggs are moving from in her midsection down towards her cloaca. The closer she gets to actually delivering those eggs, the broader or the bigger the difference you will see from the tail to that lower part of their body. So like I said, she ovulated almost 2 weeks ago. Or probably like 5 or 6 days ago she ovulated. She's just starting to get ready to go into shed. So she's right on schedule. So that's perfect. That's like what we love to see. So I know that was kind of a shoddy example just because of how she climbed back in. So we're actually going to move. Let's do this. Calliope. She's a little feisty. Now this girl here, she has been off food for a few weeks now. So the reason I bring that up, the importance of that is that when you are palpating these females, it's very important to palpate them around specific times. If you palpate them right after a feeding pretty much a feeding, you may confuse that lump in their stomach for a follicle or for a developed egg, depending on the size of the meal. But usually that meal is going to sit higher up in their stomach than the eggs would. Like I said, lower third of the body is where you're going to start feeling these bumps. When you palpate them at first, when they first start off with 5 millimeter to 10 millimeter follicles, they're going to feel real small, almost like bigger than a pea, smaller than a marble. They're going to feel real small. It's real hard to get a determination of those follicles when they're at that size. But as those follicles continue to grow, they'll get up to about golf ball size, or depending on how big the eggs are, the size of a kiwi, maybe a little bit bigger. And they're real pronounced. Then you'll really start feeling them. And there's no mistaking it. You'll feel them in a row. It'll literally be back to back to back. You'll feel the bump as your fingers move down their body. So we have palpated this girl a couple times now, but she had previously been eating. Like I said, she's only been off of food a couple weeks. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to grab her. Now, if you can tell, another telltale sign that your female is developing eggs is, and now you're going to see this stretch of the scales. You're going to see, look at the coloration on her back near her head. If you look at the coloration on her back near her head, her colors are a lot darker. And if you move down the body, those scales are moving further and further apart. So the color is going to fade out a little bit as those scales begin to stretch. And then another sign is this right here. You're going to find this build in the lower third of their body as well. This girl's trying to run from me as well. So like I said, I palpated her a few weeks ago. She had just went off food. I could still feel the rat in her stomach. She hasn't eaten in at least 3 weeks now, maybe going on a month. That food should be digested. It usually takes about 10 to 14 days for them to digest a meal fully. So that food should be digested, and we should get a good sense of how many follicles she has developing in her right now and what size they are. So we're going to do the same thing. Like I said, just open up the tub a crack. You're going to put the female's head in. You're going to want her to run from you a bit as she's trying to get back in her tub. You don't have to worry about the upper third or upper half of the body, but once you get about halfway through the body, again, slight pressure on the top, on the spine, a little bit underneath on the belly, and then just let them run right through your hands. And there's one. There's two. There's three. There's four. There's five. Could be six. I'm not sure about that last one, but she has at least five follicles that I can feel. And again, you know, judging on the scale spread on her, how thick she's getting in that lower third of her body, and palpating her, I would say there may be about golf ball size right now. Nothing too huge, nothing too crazy. She still has some ways to go in developing those follicles, but it looks like she's well on her way. She's showing all the signs. She went off of food. She's cool seeking. She's bull wrapping. And this girl's a very aggressive feeder. She was eating like a monster. So great signs. This is going to be one of our Bell's clutch. So very excited about that. Anyway, so real quick intermission. I'm just going to show you guys. We got a pair locked up. This is our girl Isabella, our queen bee, and our boy King Tut, our pastel yellow belly butter boy. They are currently locked up. This girl had me frustrated all year. I bought her as a proven breeder. One of my buddies, actually my good buddy over at Parsons Pythons, my boy Jesse, told me he produced for her last year. Laid, I think, like 8 good eggs for her first clutch. Told me when she laid everything. I was expecting her to start going a little bit sooner, but all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she starts cool seeking. She's in her water bowl. She's bowl wrapping. Her midsection's growing like crazy, but she's still slamming food. So, I mean, we'll see, but I'm excited about that. Hopefully, we'll get 2 bell clutches this year. I really, really wanted to focus on bells this year. And then the rest of our females, we're just trying to add towards our collection, trying to build up the other projects that we're working with. Anyways, I digress. So last female right here, we're going to look at Rhea. Now, she's our Pastavi Hypo, 66% Het Clown DG. She's about to shed out. This girl's another feisty one. I don't want to get tagged, so we're going to, yep. So that's, want them to turn from you a little bit and run. Now, this girl is still on food too. She's sitting at about 1,300, 1,350 grams. We just started pairing her with our Fire Triple Het Hypo DG Clown male. So we're looking at the very least to produce some hypos that are possible, at least 50%, if not more, possible Het DG, possible Het Clown, unless she ends up proving out, and then everything will be 66% het. Oh, well, everything will be 100% hypo because she's a visual hypo, but 66% het Desert Ghost, 66% Het Clown to add towards our hypo clown Desert Ghost project. So same thing. I'm going to do it one more time. And this time I'm just going to use the face cloth just to shoot. There's a little less friction there. So same thing. You're going to close up the tub. You're going to direct their head into it. Now, like I said, she is still on food, so you want to be a little wary of that bump. It is going to be higher up in the body. And same thing, light pressure on the back. This would be the food bump right in the middle of her body. And there's one tiny. These are like marble size. 2, 3, 4. About 4 eggs I can feel inside of her. Now those, like I said, she's a lot earlier into her process of building those follicles. So they're obviously going to be a lot smaller, like I said, about marble size, but clearly you can feel them right after that food bump. Give a little bit of space, maybe about 2 or 3 inches, and then you can feel that quick succession of those lumps inside of her. And now I only felt 4 of them. That's what tends to happen when you have smaller females breeding. That's why the whole 1,500 gram rule is usually applied. Um, Maybe me being overzealous, getting super excited about this Hypo DG Clown project. I wanted to get into it right away. This girl's actually 4 years old. She should be a lot bigger. Uh, if you're not new to the channel, you know the backstory on that. But since I got her at like 900 grams. She put on like 400 grams in like 3-4 months, just slamming food. She only eats live, so that was a determining factor on her weight from the person that I got her. Couldn't get a live supply all the time. But very excited. This by far is my most anticipated clutch. Maybe the pied one. I'm super excited about the pied stuff too. I really, that is like where my heart is at. Pied and bells is like what tickles my fancy in the ball python world. It really is what got me going. But the potential of this clutch is outrageous, so I'm super excited about it. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. So I just want to give you guys some tips on how to palpate if you do not have an ultrasound, and show you the 2 techniques that will most likely work, show you where on the body you're going to be searching for those, and not to get it confused with the food lump. But yeah, that's it. I appreciate you guys watching so much. And with that being said, peace, love, and blessings from my family to yours. Have a great night.